Hello, everybody, and thank you for your support of Indie Agency News. Let's go ahead and meet an indie agency today. We're going to New York, LA, around the world. John Haber, co-founder, Giant Spoon. Welcome. Okay. Now, we were having a little conversation before, right? I love that the industry folk decided to tell you something when you founded the agency and you ignored them. So kudos to that. So Giant Spoon is the agency. Now remind everybody when it was founded.
We started in September of 2013. So we just are a hair over 10 years old, which is
amazing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's great.
I look different. I look different than when we started, which is
dude. Oh my God. Like when we get together, we're gonna show you 2013. Look there were no bags under our eyes.
Yeah.
Now the part of this that I think is really interesting, and I really like this, I really like the cut of this particular jib, is you were founded both in New York and LA simultaneously, and people told you not to do that.
They told us, I have like a list of things people told us not to do that we did. That was one of the first ones, because my partners and I were together in the holding company world.
Sure.
And they live in New York, and a couple of us lived in LA, and none of us wanted to move. And everyone said, you can't start an agency on two coasts simultaneously. Like, that's just not how it works. And we said, well, we're not moving, so it's what's going to happen. And it ended up being a superpower, because we got different clients in those early days. Right. We built out different services and skills, and then we shared those and we cross-pollinated them. I think probably the only mistake we made was, like, in success and in growth, we probably had a lot of like redundant, duplicative things in those two offices that, over time we were able to sort of consolidate and run as one company, but housed in both cities.
Yeah, and that's interesting, because too, the thing about it too, I've been on the West Coast for 32 years, and most of my family is East Coast, and obviously, both of us have that thing, that East Coast West Coast thing. And what I find interesting is not only potentially the client set, but also the pool of talent is a little bit different. What did you experience in terms of, and again, they're all complementary, some of it redundant, but these are, talent in LA is a little bit different than talent in New York. So talk about how the talent pool was built in those early days.
Yeah, I mean, the talent pool was also reflective of the different kinds of assignments we were doing. So we ended up doing a lot more long form content in the early days of our LA team. Like, we weren't even winning traditional advertising campaigns. We were doing things that felt more like branded entertainment or documentary or long form. And there was such a depth of talent who had sort of screenwriting capabilities and long form narrative capabilities that we were able to bring in here, that either worked in entertainment or started in entertainment and moved to advertising as sort of a fallback, which sometimes happened. But either way, the ethos was in the water of the talent out here at a much different pace. And then in our New York team, in our early days, we were getting really meaty strategy assignments where
makes sense.
We were having, like, not just advertising strategy, but business strategy, marketing consulting, and getting in there with these clients at the CMO level and having meaningful conversations about culture and media and the brand and what it stands for, which then led to more creative work and more media planning and buying work. And it was sort of ended up being the tip of the spear for having larger strategic relationships with clients as we were building out better content and experiential capabilities on the West Coast.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And that tracks perfectly. And what's interesting too is that a lot of that talent migrated west from New York, and then conversely, a lot of that creative talent that you had discussed has migrated out east. So you may be onto something, John.
Well, now I wouldn't say, like, at this point it feels pretty integrated. Like, I wouldn't say that there is that much of a difference.
No.
we're coastally aware of how our talent, the types of stuff our talent does.
Yeah, no, makes total sense. Now, you've been around 10 years again, Mazel Tov. Now every agency has their thing. What would you say that your agency is best known for?
Well, it's an interesting question because
Right.
what we're best known for is experiential, which is this like double-edged sword for us because we love experiential. We've done, I think, experiential work that has changed that industry in terms of how brands build narrative-based immersive experiences. But we never set out to be an experiential agency. We're
Right.
a strategy and ideas agency, and we didn't care about the output. And that's always been the sales pitch of Giant Spoon. It's like, we'll think about your brand, we'll think about your audience, and we'll think about culture, and we can make anything. And the beauty is we have made anything. We've made, podcasts. We've won the Tribeca Film Festival for
Right.
entertainment. I think we've done more podcasts than any agency, and one of them went to #1 on iTunes overall that we did for GE. So we do all of these different things, and that's like the special sauce of Giant Spoon. But experiential has just been the most famous, which we love.
Right.
It's such a calling card for us, but we definitely have to continue to tell the story to make sure everyone sees all of the other sort of formats of content that we play in.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be known for something, right? Mine is clearly my gray long hair. But remind me what you won at Tribeca. I remember, it's there. What did you win at Tribeca again? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, so we've been shortlisted a few times, but the one that won was a short film we did with Synchrony Bank.
Yes.
And it was like a Groundhog Day financial story we did with Issa Rae's production company.
Okay.
And it was really cool. I mean, and we made a puppet talk show with Michelle Obama for Waffles and Mochi, and we made we did the Wolf series for HP, which was like a 5-year.
I remember that. Yeah,
with Christian Slater. We just did one that was shortlisted at Tribeca with HP again. That was called Unlocked, where we had data scientists solving a mystery that led them to like fighting a cartel in Mexico.
Right.
That it was the first ever branded entertainment to be featured on Peacock on the streaming platform. It's like. That's where I'm always like, look at this stuff. And I was like, but also we projected on 100 stories of the Empire State Building for Stranger Things, which is friggin' amazing too.
No, I know.
But we have to constantly tell that story to the world.
Yeah. So speaking of which, I once was called a low rent Christian Slater because of my voice. So, I always imagine Christian Slater doing an impression of Jack Nicholson. I mean, it's sort of the same thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, sort of. It's just a little slower, and
that is good. I feel like I'm watching Gleaming the Cube right now.
Oh God! Oh my God! Oh, everybody, Gen X, raise your hand. Okay. Oh my gosh, look at us, Gen Xers. You've touched on a few things. What would you say are a couple more core strengths of the agency? I mean, obviously we've covered a lot of ground, but what are maybe one or two other things that you would consider key strengths that people might not necessarily think about, especially brands?
Yeah. Well, another big one is we're a full service media planning and buying agency. We're the media agency of record for MassMutual, for GE, for the New York Mets, for a bunch of others. So we plan and buy media of all types, TV, above the line, big brand level media, and performance media as well. We actually just hired a new chief media officer, Julie Berger, who came from running investment at Essence. So we're a legit player in media, which is another story we like to make sure that is getting told and overshadowed by some of the experiential stuff as well. I think in media, the coolest thing that we've uncovered and the reason we can compete against much bigger media agencies is our calling card is creativity in media. Media ideas, media thinking, like not just sort of blindly RFPing media partners, like really thinking about what content and concepts we want to put into the world through the lens of media. So that's a big superpower of ours that is a huge differentiator for Giant Spoon.
Makes sense. Let's go into being independent. Why is being an independent and being indie so important to you and the team?
I mean, I look at the last 10 years, and a lot of the things that we talked about that were these unconventional paths to success, like, couldn't have happened if we weren't independent. I mean, the fact that we were really just trying to sell strategy and ideas 10 years ago, and now then we slowly built a creative department, we slowly built a media department, and we brought in social staff, and we brought in creatives and experiential, like, and we built 5 small agencies at once, which is I don't know if I would recommend for the faint of heart. But
2 out of 5.
a big holding company, wouldn't have let us do that. They would have told us to focus, and that focus would have meant that we would have ended up looking like everybody else. And like the fact that we just did things our way and used our naivete as a superpower let us build something that feels different in our mind.
I love that you used that word, and I don't think I've heard anybody express it quite that way. This idea of naivete, because naivete in and of itself implies that you're open to possibilities. Being super naive means that you may just have no idea. You know what I mean? I think naivete,
there's something between the two. Yeah.
Not only does it sound super French, a lot more French, but I think that it's more of a hint of like adventure as opposed to. So that's an interesting way of putting it. How do you ensure that you keep that sense? Because Dan Wyden used to say, "Walk in stupid." And so I think that there's some kernels in that. How do you maintain that ethos? Because that's a really interesting way into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is in like the flywheel of who you hire, and like people who naturally are that way. They're curious, but they haven't necessarily been locked into a way of doing things by their 10,000 hours. And it's easier to find that with junior people, but there's still junior people that want to come to a place like Giant Spoon in a self-selecting way, because it is a little bit weird and it is a little bit hard to put your finger on what we do. And that creates a little bit of self-selection in people who want to do different things and don't just want to build a portfolio that looks like everybody else's portfolio. And then, curating it with the leadership that we bring in too. I think the side effect of it is you can sometimes hire so many wild cards that you become a wild card in pitch environments, which means that you have to have clients who are willing to really take a bet on a wild card. So there is a dial to it and a risk reward to it. But I think when you see the weirdness of our work that's become famous, you can kind of see the output of that mindset.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Again, we covered a lot of ground, and it was great to tick off a lot of the things that the agency has done over the years. You get to give me one reason on this one, so you get one. I don't need to walk around La Brea. I need. What's the main reason Rand should work with Giant Spoon? And I'm forcing you to give the and I know it's not an easy answer, and maybe I'm helping you stall for time here a little bit.
Well, I have a simple answer, and you can tell me if you want a more of a walk around.
No. You just go and yeah.
Which is it's a nice wrap up of our conversation. We are Giant Spoon, and you hire us if you want to stir shit up.
Okay.
And that is, we're going to do things a little bit differently, and we're not going to follow a playbook or a template or check boxes on a media plan.
I like that one. Let's go back to talent. Why should talent be putting Giant Spoon on the list?
I touched it a little bit, but like I have to be careful because I might have heard this from Wyden, but like one of the promises that I think Wyden makes is that you can do the best work of your career here, and I believe that's true at Giant Spoon. But I want to broaden the definition of what work you can do here, because you really, because of the diversity of outputs we're capable of, creatives who have only worked on campaigns can touch experiences, and people who have strategists might be able to come up with creative ideas. And there's sort of a very open opportunity here. And I like to, a lot of our best people who have left, they don't leave us to go to other agencies. They leave us to be CMOs or to go, to run entertainment businesses or lead or be general managers and lead businesses, because they get such a broad exposure to many different parts of marketing here, not just one silo.
Oh, I like that. Speaking of CMOs, professional broadcast segue, and this is a little thought exercise. Which CMO or marketer, whether they are a client or not, would you like to say hello to?
I think the Giant Spoon story, and with our client of 10 years, our first client, who's still our client, is GE. And Linda Boff has been
I knew it was coming.
an inspiration and a mentor to our agency. I mean, she's closer with my partners in New York, but she's just been a huge ally and advocate for us, and that changed the trajectory of the agency.
I kind of knew that one was coming. I'll give you a bonus one. Is there another one? Come on, get another one.
Well, another one is I'll give you another current client, Vic Batra, who's the global CMO of HP. He bet on us early on in like year 1 or 2. Someone introduced me to Vic. I drove down to San Diego and had lunch with him. We just talked about what we were trying to build. And he said, okay, I have an assignment for you. It starts Monday. And that was on a Friday. And we're like, all right, well, we'll figure it out. And he gave us an assignment. It led now to 9 years of work with HP, the things like the Wolf and the unlocked, data science thing I talked about, and many, many other things. It turns out that when I had that lunch with Vic 10 years ago, he was doing a thought experiment where he was doing a month of saying yes to any idea that was brought to him that month, just to see where it would take him. And if he wasn't in his 1 month thought experiment, it's another thing that might not have, we might not be where we are and have been able to build an agency, because HP has let us do so much amazing work that has begot a lot of other work for us.
Vic. Yeah. I'm getting a yes to Vic sticker. I mean, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. You know what? We have another series called The 10-Year Client. We should get Vic on here to talk about that.
Yeah, I would love
that would be a lot of fun, because that would shake it up.
I'd like to know what else he said yes to. I know of at least one other influencer agency that might have got in at that time.
No, it's great, but you're giving us like the very small kernel morsel of the story, but now you piqued my curiosity. We want to learn more. Well, John, as always, we appreciate you taking the time. Congratulations, 10 years, amazing stuff. And the fact that you've had such long-standing clients is a testament to a lot of things, but we always like seeing the work that comes out of your agency. And thanks so much for joining us, and we wish you continued success.
Thanks for having me. This was fun. Appreciate it.